If there's a whiff in the air in this very beautiful neck of Cumbria's woods, it's a fragrant one. This is the Wax Lyrical Factory, one of the UK's largest home fragrancing companies. We've come along to talk to owner-manager Mike Armstead, the man who spotted the potential and profit to be made in candle making when no one else did, and the one who knew at the outset that to pull this particular business back from ruin, rebranding was essential. Mike, tell us why you decided to put good money and a considerable chunk of your life into a company that was on the brink of going into administration.
Well, initially I had refused the opportunity to buy what was then called Colony. It was a fortunate act of fate that my wife and I happened to be in the Lake District and came and had a look at Colony. My wife spent a small fortune in the gift shop here, and I wandered around the perimeter and decided this couldn't possibly be a business that could lose £5 million a year. The infrastructure, the buildings looked too good for that. So I was looking for something to do at the time and decided it was worth a punt.
Did you draw up a development plan to turn this company around?
There wasn't a lot of time for a development plan. The business was about to go into administration on the 2nd of January 2007. We were now into November, with Christmas approaching rapidly. Decisions just had to be taken, and I went ahead and bought the company with very limited due diligence. I wasn't really sure what I'd got until I arrived on the 2nd of January 2007.
And that's when you met the staff force here, the whole sort of factory workforce?
Absolutely. The toughest moment of any acquisition is the day you stand up in front of 150 faces. They don't quite know why you're there. They may be a little bit concerned with your presence. It's quite a daunting process, those first 10 minutes in a new business.
Jane, tell me a little bit more about how you match the design of your Fired Earth products with Fired Earth's own products, for example.
We start off with an initial concept and buying in some of the paint tins.
Yes.
And looking at the colours that they use in their ranges currently.
They've got some lovely names, haven't they? Chai and Lime, Red Tea, Emperor Red Tea, Green Tea, and Bergamot. These are the ones that you chose, aren't they?
Yeah, these were based on tea fragrances because tea was very on trend at the time, so we wanted to use those.
Our first joint venture was with the Royal Horticultural Society. It was a new venture for Colony, and it was a new venture for me. I had never been involved in licensing brands before. Having had great success with that license, we then went on to search out others. Our next venture was very different indeed, and that was with Jelly Belly. The brand is one of the coolest in the world. It's in the top 10 cool brands. We were very keen to get hold of this brand. It was a vehicle to show how clever we were as home fragrance manufacturers to match the highly fragrant beans with a cold throw fragrance, a fragrance that you smelt straight from the tin, was a real challenge for our perfumers and for our technical staff here. And it has been a fantastic brand for us. We've sold many millions of pounds worth of goods on the back of that relationship, and it's a relationship that's been a win-win. Jelly Belly have benefited and enjoyed the relationship, and we've certainly benefited from that.
There's another smell in the air visiting this factory, and one that bears all the notes of a tale of a profitable business that employs a staff of 150 and produces over 10 million products each year to bring in a turnover exceeding £11.4 million. In short, it's the sweet scent of success. You have customers in Russia, Japan, throughout the Middle East and Europe. How have you reached these new markets, and how do you match market with brand?
The markets that we've broken into, I mean, if you take Russia, for example, that is a new market for us. But for 2012, I can tell you our budgets and forecasts for that market, for those markets, are very, very significant. The market is really just opening up in Russia. I was in Moscow just recently, and it was such a pleasure to see Muscovites discovering home fragrance. The market had not existed prior to our entry into the market. In that case, we had no idea what would sell. As it happens, the upmarket ranges, our RHS Chelsea range and some timeless ranges, are selling extremely well there. In Japan, they've really taken to our RHS range. They love the Lindley Library artwork, and that has become a real success in Japan. In the Middle East, it tends to be sweeter fragrances, the stronger fragrances that people go for. In some cases, we don't know what's going to be successful. Our partners and distributors don't know what's going to be successful, but trial and error, and the consumer decides.
And the market's still opening up.
Our markets are still opening up. We've just moved into Australia. I would love to break into North America and Canada. That's the big prize. Hugely competitive, very difficult to get into. We are in discussions. We keep our fingers crossed.
Mike Armstead, owner-manager of Wax Lyrical, thank you very much for talking with us.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.